It's been kind of a bad year for Hollywood box office movies. Avatar did really good. Top Gun Maverick did really good. But other than that, what else is there that's really kind of just taken off at the box office? Not much. Sure, you've got movies that have done well. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness did pretty good. But then Thor Love and Thunder didn't do very good. So you've got a lot of failure this year at the box office. And what I love about this, and what's really going to bring a smile to, I'm sure, a lot of your faces, is a lot of the movies that failed this year were woke. And it's your fault they failed, by the way. Just want to point that out. I'm going to go over why in a minute. I'm kidding. It's not. It's them blaming you for why the movies failed, by the way. But you know, you've got some really just spectacular trash fires. Babylon. Great example. I think it's at a grand total of like $8 million. It cost $250 million to make. So that is a spectacular crash and burn. And I love it because Babylon has a lot of star power in it. Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt. I mean, two huge names. But those huge names don't get anybody to go to the theater, do they? A movie with a lot of star power took a gigantic shit. And I think that that's really worth talking about because, like I've said time and time again, you know, 2 decades ago, a decade ago even, you could have gotten a lot of people in seats at a movie theater just because one or two of those names are attached to the movie. Oh, a Brad Pitt movie. Got to see that. I mean, it's Brad Pitt. Those days are over. A person's name doesn't get you into the theater anymore, unless it's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise can still do that, but he's like the only one. Nobody really pulls people into theaters anymore. And, you know, marketing for a movie used to be based a lot on star power. A big name in the movie, you would see that name everywhere, all over the movie. It's just not like that anymore. Now, it's all about the franchise. Warner has been saying that. They're about to revive and reboot Harry Potter because they want to put their franchises back in the theaters. So things are changing in Hollywood. And, you know, it couldn't happen to better people. People in Hollywood, they've been acting like asses for the past couple of years, just letting everyone know how they really feel on social media. And I think it's really turned a lot of people off to them. And they only have themselves to blame. They only have themselves to blame for it. So that brings us to 2022 box office bombs that deserved better, they say. They're all confused. Collider's confused. How could this have happened? How could all of these movies have bombed? It's a big disappointment. Why didn't you go see this movie? Why didn't you go see these movies, bigots? You sexist? Let's take a look at some of these because I think it's easy to forget just how many movies failed this year because there was so much failure in 2022. Like this year was one of the worst box offices in a long time. Not enough people are talking about that. It's a bad year for Hollywood. And they're really going to have to think about how they do things moving forward because this year really did prove that this woke bullshit, like no one shows up to a movie because it's woke. Bros was a great example of that. Remember the Bros? It's on this list, so we'll get to it in a minute. Right on their list at number 1 here, even though they don't put numbers, but we're going to assign number 1 to Babylon. This movie was a huge flop. In a year filled with mega-sized running times, Damien Chazelle's 3-hour takedown of Hollywood is one of the rare films that justifies its length. This is an indulgent, glorious spectacle that deserves the attention of a crowd that can react to every crazy moment from the opening party spectacle to the surprisingly horrific conclusion. Chazelle's cynicism may have hurt Babylon's chances at capturing a mainstream audience, but it's impressive that he wrangled such a significant budget dedicated to such challenging material. I've heard this movie is dog shit, by the way. It's funny, it gets propped up. Bros, my favorite. This one was my favorite failure because Billy Eichner pretty much gave anybody that has a bingo card on Hollywood failures, he hit all of them. It's your fault. You didn't see the movie because you're a bigot. You weren't ready for this. It was funny to watch. The media called audiences bigots. It was a fun trash fire. But this movie was a spectacular failure, and it deserved it. Because of this dude and his stupid mouth running around calling everybody homophobes because they didn't go see his stupid movie. Which, by the way, was full of, like, just tons of, like, orgy scenes and shit. That's just not something everybody wants to go see. And it's just funny. Like, you did this to yourself by acting like such a clown. Comedy films have been hit hard by the post-COVID box office. Titles like Ticket to Paradise and Good Luck to You, Grande, may have found success on streaming, but the market for studio comedies on the big screen has dwindled. It's unfortunate because Bros is both a groundbreaking moment of representation and one of the most pitch-perfect romantic comedies in years. Yeah, a comedy about a couple that has orgies all the time. That's a great relationship. It's funny. What is the reason that you should go see this movie? Because it has a groundbreaking representation. That's not enough to get people to go see a movie. You also need to have a good movie in there, too. The Witcher Blood Origin figured that out real quick, didn't it? You just still actually have a good product. You can't just say, well, it's groundbreaking representation. That doesn't get ass in seats. Sorry. Also, this movie didn't fail because it's a comedy. It failed because it's a male-focused rom-com. And the people who make up audiences for rom-com are women. And they don't want to see this kind of movie. I'm sorry. They want to see Matthew McConaughey sweep, from a background of lower class, sweep up and take some debutante and take her out for a night on the town. That's what they want to see. I'm sorry. That's what that audience wants to see. And this just didn't connect with that audience. But because that didn't connect with this audience, you call them bigots. Just probably not the best tactic to do that. It's probably not the best attacking the audience that you want to come see it. That's never worked. And then The Fabelmans, a movie about Steven Spielberg, pretty much telling a story about how great he is. This failed. I wonder why. I'm the star. Women talking. People are sick of this shit. A Me Too movie in the year of Johnny Depp. What a smart idea that was. Ambulance. This movie actually looked okay. The Michael Bay action movie. I didn't see it, but I suppose maybe I'll watch it one day. Didn't do well, though. Northman didn't do well. A lot of people love this movie. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was overrated. I didn't care for it. But it's nice to see a movie like this get made. I think it will. I think The Northman is the kind of movie that will probably rise in cult status and become popular over time. It's already started to do that. So, She Said, this is a movie about taking down Weinstein and not blaming Hollywood. This is a good example of journalists thinking that they're more interesting than they really are. 3,000 Years of Longing, I don't know anything about this movie. This one I agree with. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is actually a pretty good movie. I actually went and saw it in the theaters. It's actually kind of a funny movie. If you like Nicolas Cage, you'll like this movie because it's a movie about Nicolas Cage. If you've seen a lot of his movies, there's a lot of inside jokes in this movie. This one, I agree, underrated and should have done better. This movie also will likely rise up through cult status. Armageddon Time, I don't know anything about that. And then The Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. This movie absolutely deserved to fail, laughably, because this movie, if you don't remember, was originally supposed to star Johnny Depp. And Warner made a big deal about it, ended up pretty much kicking him off of the movie, saying they stand basically with Heard by doing that. Pissed off all of his fans. And then, for some reason, and I'll never understand this, this movie should have came out, like they should have delayed this movie till December, by the way, where maybe things would have been a little bit better for it. But they decided to release this movie in the same week that the Depp trial started. And because of that, everyone remembered instantly right away, oh, wait a minute, this was supposed to have Depp in it. And they fired him. Failed spectacularly. They did that to themselves. So I just find it funny that they're saying, like, oh, these movies should have done better. No, they deserved their failure. I like seeing a lot of this woke shit crash and burn. And hopefully, after maybe one more year of this, because believe me, it ain't over, things will shift back. That would be nice. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and my locals. Also, make sure you tune in tonight to Flashcast at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my locals.